You know that woman who, even in shorts and a t-shirt at the supermarket, makes you stop and think, wow, she has money? Meanwhile, you just spent a fortune on a new outfit and still look, well, ordinary? The truth nobody tells you is that looking rich in summer has nothing to do with what you spend, but rather with 3 specific adjustments that elegant women make and that you're probably completely ignoring. Hi, I'm Carol, and welcome to Lucrative Elegance. Before we continue, if you want to transform your elegance into something lucrative and finally discover the secrets to looking sophisticated even in 40-degree heat, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and leave that like. Because what I'm going to tell you today will completely change how you dress in summer. Last week I was at the mall, yes, that air conditioning that saves lives, when I saw a woman who immediately caught my attention. She wore simple white pants, a beige linen blouse, and golden flat sandals. Nothing designer, nothing extravagant, but there was something about her that screamed, old money, you know? Meanwhile, right behind her came another woman with clearly more expensive clothing, designer shorts, a blouse with a giant logo, $1,000 sandals, but who looked, how can I say without sounding rude, nouveau riche. And that's when it hit me. In summer, when the heat forces us to wear fewer layers, the details that separate elegant from vulgar become even more evident. It's as if heat were a lie detector for elegance. You can't fool it. You can't disguise it with layering or excessive accessories. The first woman had mastered something I'll call the holy trinity of elegant summer. Right fabric, right color, right fit. While the second was committing the 3 most common errors that make any look scream frustrated attempt to look rich. You know that Coco Chanel phrase, luxury is a matter of details? In summer, this becomes even more true. Because when you can't wear a blazer, coat, or any layering that disguises imperfections in the look, each choice needs to be surgical. Pants that create the wrong creases, fabric that shows sweat, a color that makes you look sick. Any mistake becomes glaring. But here's the plot twist that fashion magazines don't want you to know. The adjustments that really make a difference cost exactly $0. It's not about buying expensive pieces, it's about choosing the right ones. It's about understanding that in summer, elegance is like an iceberg. What you see on the surface is only 10% of what really matters. And look, I know it seems contradictory for someone who loves good things and luxury to say this, but the truth is, I've seen women spend fortunes on summer clothes and continue looking, let's say, unsophisticated, because they were following the wrong rules. They were trying to apply winter elegance to heat, and that simply doesn't work. For example, did you know there's a mathematical formula? Yes, mathematical, for choosing the right color for your summer outfit based on your skin tone? And that 80% of elegant women follow a specific rule about fabrics that others completely ignore? Or that there's a 3-second summer elegance test that anyone can do in the mirror? The hot season is like a trial by fire for elegance. You can't hide behind structured coats or strategic accessories. It's you, the fabric, the shape, and nothing more. And that's exactly why truly elegant women shine in summer, because they know the secrets I'm going to share with you today. In fact, if you're planning to travel and want to be an elegant and sophisticated traveler, I have a special ebook called Be Elegant While Traveling, Global Etiquette for the Sophisticated Traveler. The link is in the first pinned comment. Because there's no point in mastering summer elegance if you don't know how to maintain that standard when you're exploring the world, right? Now you must be wondering, Carol, what are these 3 magic adjustments? Calm down, calm down. First, I need to tell you about the biggest mistake that 90% of women make in summer. A mistake so common that even naturally elegant women fall into this trap. You know that story about, in summer, you need to wear light colors to not absorb heat? Lie number 1. Or rather, half-truth that became a complete lie. Because there are light colors that make you look rich and light, colors that make you look, how can I say, economical. The difference lies in something the French call nuance, and I'll teach you to identify it in 2 minutes. And there's more. Do you think linen is always synonymous with elegance in summer? Error number 2. There's elegant linen and linen that makes you look like you slept in your clothes. And the difference isn't in the price, it's in what I call the 3 C's of linen. But you'll discover that in a bit. The third error is the most subtle, but perhaps the most devastating. The obsession with comfort. Oh, but in the heat, I just want to be comfortable. I completely understand. I also hate sweating and feeling uncomfortable. But there's an abyssal difference between elegant comfort and sloppy comfort. And this difference lies in a detail so simple, you'll be mad at me for not thinking of it before. You know that one of the things that most irritates me is this fashion of be authentic, becoming an excuse for anything. Oh, I wear flip-flops because I'm authentic. People, for the love. There's a difference between being authentic and being sloppy. You can be 100% yourself and still respect basic codes of elegance, especially in summer, when any slip becomes more evident. And speaking of flip-flops, you have no idea how many times I see beautiful, well-groomed women completely destroying a summer look because of the wrong footwear. It's as if they built a beautiful house and put a portable toilet door at the entrance. The visual impact is devastating. But don't worry, because I didn't come here just to point out problems. I came with practical solutions, tested not only by me, but by elegant women around the world. And when I say around the world, I mean literally. Because summer elegance in Tuscany is different from summer elegance in Miami, which is different from summer elegance in Rio de Janeiro. The good news is there's a common denominator, a universal base that works in any hot climate. And this base comes down to those 3 adjustments I mentioned at the beginning. Adjustments you can implement today, with the clothes you already have in your wardrobe. Because look, I know not everyone can go out buying a new wardrobe every season. I myself, despite loving good things and dreaming of being rich someday, need to be smart with my choices. And it was precisely this necessity that made me discover that the most elegant women I know aren't necessarily the richest. They're the smartest. They discovered how to make a simple little dress look like Dolce & Gabbana, how to transform basic pants into a runway-worthy piece, how to choose accessories that multiply the perceived value of the look by 10. And today I'm going to teach you exactly that. But before we get into the specific adjustments, I need to break a myth that might be sabotaging all your efforts to look elegant in summer. A myth perpetuated by fashion magazines themselves, and that has to do with our relationship with sweat. Yes, I'm going to talk about sweat, because you can't talk about summer elegance pretending it doesn't exist. The truth is that elegant women do sweat, yes. The difference is they know how to sweat elegantly. They know fabrics that work in their favor, no cuts that disguise, no tricks that maintain composure even when the thermometer is marking 35 degrees in the shade. And here's a personal confession. I, Carol, who love elegance and detest vulgarity, have made every possible mistake in summer. I've worn synthetic fabric that made me look like a walking sauna. I've chosen colors that made me look like a ghost. I've bet on pieces that promised freshness but delivered inelegance. It was through these mistakes and systematic observation of naturally elegant women that I developed what I call the Thermal Elegance Protocol, a set of simple rules that guarantee you maintain sophistication even when the asphalt is melting. And you know what's most interesting? The more I studied summer elegance, the more I realized it has a lot to do with mathematics and science. The way different fabrics interact with light, how certain colors create optical illusions that affect the perception of social class, how the cut of a piece can completely alter body temperature. It's fascinating when you understand that elegance isn't abstract art, it's applied science. And once you master the science, you can create art. You can take basic pieces and transform them into looks that make people ask where you bought it, how much it cost, if you have a personal stylist. Now, I know some of you must be thinking, Carol, enough suspense. What are the 3 adjustments? And I promise we'll get there. But first, I need to mentally prepare you for what you're going to discover. Because once you know this, you won't be able to leave the house without applying these principles. You'll develop what I call a clinical eye for elegance, and that changes everything. Have you ever noticed how certain women can make a basic white t-shirt look like a designer piece? Or how others take expensive clothing and manage to make it look cheap? This isn't coincidence, people. There's a formula behind it, and in summer, this formula becomes even more crystalline. Let me tell a story that will perfectly illustrate what I'm talking about. Last month, I was watching that Netflix series, Emily in Paris. Yes, I know it's cliché, but the fashion production is impeccable, and there was a scene that made me pause the episode to write in my inspiration notebook. Emily was in a Parisian cafe in the morning, wearing literally a white t-shirt, a beige midi skirt, and flat sandals. Nothing extraordinary on paper, right? But there were 3 almost imperceptible details that transformed that basic look into something aspirational. First, the t-shirt had a specific fit, neither too tight nor too loose, but with that perfect balance that the French call décontracté chic. Second, the beige color of the skirt wasn't just any beige. It was that tone that stylists call café au lait, that works as a luxurious neutral. And third, the sandals had a specific proportion that lengthened the legs without screaming, "I'm trying to look tall." Now, why am I telling you this? Because these three details represent exactly the three adjustments that separate elegant from mediocre in summer. And the most fascinating thing is that each of them has a scientific, yes, scientific, minus basis behind it. The first adjustment has to do with what fashion experts call the golden proportion. There's literally a mathematical reason why certain combinations of pieces work and others don't. In summer, when you have fewer layers to work with, this proportion becomes even more critical. Pants with the waist in the wrong place can completely destroy the visual harmony of your body. A blouse with the sleeve in the incorrect width can make you look shorter, wider, more ordinary. But here's what nobody tells you. The golden proportion isn't universal. It varies according to your body type, and in summer this becomes even more evident. A woman with a long torso needs different strategies from a woman with long legs. A woman with wide hips has different rules from a woman with wide shoulders. And discovering what your golden proportion is like having an elegant superpower. The second adjustment is what I call thermal color psychology. Did you know there are scientific studies proving that certain colors make people perceive you as richer, more educated, more sophisticated? And that in summer, when colors become more vibrant due to intense sunlight, this perception becomes even sharper? For example, there's an abyssal difference between wearing white and wearing off-white in summer. Pure white can make you look tired or even sick, depending on your skin tone. Off-white, that's slightly grayish white, creates an aura of sophistication that's almost imperceptible but extremely powerful. And there's more. There's a specific color, which I'll reveal in a bit, that's like a secret code among elegant women. When you wear this color in summer, other women with good taste immediately recognize that you understand elegance. It's like a signal, a symbol of belonging to a select group. The third adjustment is the most subtle, but perhaps the most transformative, strategic texture. In summer, when you can't use multiple layers, the texture of your clothing needs to do all the work of creating visual interest. A piece that's too smooth can look boring. A piece with too much texture can look excessive, but when you get the texture right, you create that je ne sais quoi that makes people stop to look at you. And here comes a concept I learned studying the wardrobes of truly rich women, not those who appear to be rich, but those who really are. They have an inviolable rule for summer. Each piece needs to have what they call a multiplier factor. That is, each item in the look needs to value and enhance the other items, creating a final result that's greater than the sum of its parts. Let me give a practical example. You take basic white pants, those that cost $50 at Target. If you combine them with any blouse and any sandal, you'll have a $50 look. But if you apply the three adjustments I'm going to teach you, those same pants will look like they cost $500. And this isn't exaggeration. It's science applied to elegance. But there's something I need to make clear before continuing. These adjustments aren't passing tricks or fads. They're based on timeless principles of elegance that have worked for decades and will continue working. Because true elegance isn't about following trends, it's about understanding and applying universal rules of visual harmony. You know why I speak with such conviction? Because I've tested these principles on myself, on my friends, even on my sister, who, by the way, was completely resistant to any fashion advice. And in all cases, the transformation was evident. It's not that people became more beautiful. They became more elegant, more sophisticated, more notable. And there's one more interesting thing I discovered. When you apply these adjustments, you don't just look richer, you feel richer. There's a psychological feedback that happens when you dress well. You walk differently, speak differently, behave differently. It's as if clothing were armor of confidence. But don't think this is about vanity or futility. On the contrary, it's about respect. Respect for yourself, respect for the people you live with, respect for the environments you frequent. When you dress well, you're saying, I care. I take care of myself. I respect this moment and these people. And in summer, when heat can make anyone look sloppy, this care with appearance becomes even more valued. It's as if you were swimming against the current of thermal mediocrity. While everyone is using the heat excuse to dress poorly, You're proving it's possible to be elegant and comfortable at the same time. Now, let me tell you about the biggest mistake I see women make in summer, a mistake that completely destroys any attempt at elegance. And this mistake has a name: thermal laziness syndrome. You know what I'm talking about, right? That tendency to, when the thermometer rises, automatically lower the level of demand with appearance. Oh, but it's too hot to think about clothes. Oh, but in summer you just throw on anything. Oh, but everyone's sweating anyway. People, this is an excuse from those who haven't learned yet that elegance and temperature are completely independent things. You can be elegant with 40 degrees in the shade, and you can be sloppy with 20 degrees and air conditioning. The difference is in mentality. Elegant women don't see heat as an obstacle. They see it as a creative challenge. How can I maintain my sophistication using fewer pieces? How can I create visual interest with fewer layers? How can I look fresh and elegant at the same time? And here comes something I learned observing elegant women from very hot countries, like Italian women in summer, Greek women, Spanish women. They developed a skill I call strategic minimalist elegance. They know exactly which elements are essential to maintain sophistication and which are dispensable. For example, in winter, you can wear more or less shoes and disguise with long pants. In summer, with sandals showing, every detail of your foot matters. In winter, you can use more elaborate makeup because the cold helps it set. In summer, you need a completely different strategy: more subtle, more resistant, more natural. And speaking of natural, let me deconstruct another myth that might be sabotaging your summer elegance: the obsession with misinterpreted natural. I see women who, in summer, think being natural means doing nothing, not taking care of themselves, not thinking about appearance. This isn't natural. This is negligence. Being natural in summer means working with what you have in the best possible way. It means enhancing your beauty without excess. It means choosing pieces that work with your body and lifestyle. It means accepting that you'll sweat, but not accepting that you'll look sloppy because of it. And you know what the irony is? The women who manage to look most naturally elegant in summer are precisely those who plan the most and prepare the most. They know which foundation works best in heat, know which fabric doesn't wrinkle in the bag, know how to tie a scarf in their hair to look chic and not messy. This reminds me of a friend of mine who always looks impeccable, even on the hottest days. One day I asked what her secret was, and she told me something I never forgot. Carol, summer elegance is like cooking a gourmet dish with few ingredients. You need each element to be perfect, because there's no way to disguise or compensate. And that's exactly what I want to teach you today: how to make each element of your summer look perfect, or at least very close to perfection. How to transform simplicity into sophistication, how to make heat an ally and not an enemy of your elegance. But before we get into the technical details, I need to ask you an important question. Have you ever stopped to think why some women can make any clothing look expensive and others can't make even expensive clothing look elegant? The answer lies in attitude, but also, and mainly, in technique. And when I say technique, I'm not talking about anything complicated. I'm talking about small adjustments, seemingly insignificant details that make all the difference. Like knowing if a piece is the right size for you, how to choose the color that most favors you, how to combine textures to create visual depth, how to use accessories to elevate a basic look. These are simple things, but they require knowledge. And this knowledge is what I want to share with you today, because I believe every woman deserves to feel elegant and confident, regardless of temperature or budget.